All right, we apologize for the wait, everyone. We were waiting to see if one of the contestants, Azure, would be showing up. However, they have not been able to make it within 30 minutes of the official start time. So we will be jumping into the game to start rounds. Dover and Klungo were offered the option of taking win by forfeit or proceeding to 1v2 Nick until such a time where the game is over or Azure shows up, and they have elected to take the 1v2. So without further ado, we will switch in game and be ready to start rounds.
All right.
I'm Zadrian for the judge, and I'm going to be joined by the lovely commentators. If y'all would mind introducing yourselves.
I'm Aaron.
I'm
You've already.
9.
He's 9. I'm Aaron. I've already commentated a few of these, and 9 is the server owner and significant.
That's my
And
first time commenting here, but it should be fun.
yeah,
Just gonna warn you guys all watching the stream, if you have a history of epileptic seizures, watch out, cause I don't have free cam.
it'll be fine. We take no responsibility for any seizures caused by him. All right. So on villains we have Dover and Klungo. Klungo is taking Vader, which I think is a good choice, and Dover is taking Maul, which is the pretty standard matchup.
9, you will
And
need to change the scene to in-game. Yep,
Yeah,
there you go.
if it'll.
well. And on the other side, Nick standing alone because his teammate ditched him. We got Nick playing as Ayla. Let's see how overpowered Ayla is. Everyone's ready, and we're starting. So, 9, what do you think Nick has to do to not get killed over and over again?
He's honestly just gonna have to avoid any situations that'll leave him open. He's gonna have to
Oh,
cause chaos between the two of them and
yeah.
make them kill each other for him.
Ooh,
It's gonna be a game of fleeing for him for a lot
yeah.
of it.
Another thing is that he's gonna want to delay as much as possible within the rules, just so Azure can might be able to show up at some point in the game and make this a lot easier for him.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, that was a very nice pickup earlier when both in on the center roof when the Ayla killed, knocked down Klungo, and then later on the dome when he managed to finally get the kill. Bit worried there for a second when he rolled away and missed the kill.
Yeah, I was worried he was going to be open for a minute and Dover would be able to counterpunch, but he did well. And that was a really clean backslash to
Yeah,
finish Dover off.
and Nick is in the lead 1-0. Let's see if he can keep it up. He's going to get every single point he can on heroes because, well, villains, it's going to be rough. He's going to be fighting into probably an Ayla and a Luke, I'd imagine. Dover goes Ayla. I
Very mobile characters, and he won't have much of an
Yeah,
answer for it.
and I don't really know Nick is that prolific of a Vader character. I know he can play it, but his main thing is GG, and GG isn't that good in a 2v1. Like he's
No.
reasonable, but
I really wouldn't be taking Vader in this 2v1 either. I'd be picking someone a little more mobile.
and it's tied up 1. Oh, and that's 1-1, and that's gonna be probably the archetype for most of these matches. He just gets caught off by the fact that he doesn't have any coverage.
Yep.
This is gonna be a rough game for Nick.
I do want to bring up one point regarding stalling. Uh, because he's in the 1v2 situation, and yep, they do. Because he's in the 1v2 situation where stalling is punished more heavily and more quickly on the one-person party side. So that is something to consider.
Yeah, yeah, but just taking good fights and just being cautious. That alone, that doesn't fall into the stalling rule, I don't think. And he just needs every single second he can get for Azure show
Gotta
up.
hope
And
Azure
nice
will
pickup by
show up.
Klungo there. It's just so rough for Nick. Um, any dash that doesn't also get the Vader is liable to be picked off by Klungo in the aftermath because of the cooldown on his dash.
Yeah, honestly, I think the Dover and Klungo have a really good setup here to be countering that Ayla with the
Oh,
Annie and the Vader.
yeah. If I were the 2 team, I would have Dover going first with the Anakin, and then have Klungo counterpunch after Nick does his response. Because it's pretty low risk for the Anakin to do a dash attack, CD and all, compared to the Vader, who he got knocked down the first time, and that's how they got the win. And again, he got knocked down here, and he gets the win. So, what you want to do is you want to have the Anakin go in first, just so any counter punch that the Ayla does is mitigated by the CD, and then you have Klungo
Yep.
finish. So now it's 2-3 up for the villains. Honestly, Nick is doing all right,
Yeah,
considering
he's
the
doing pretty
circumstances.
well against the 2 of them.
Yeah. I don't like how they're split up right now. Dover and Klungo should
This
be.
is what Nick needs.
Yeah. Dover and Klungo should be playing the most cautious game possible. Just because of the sheer amount of risk every time they engage that Nick has to deal with. So if they don't allow themselves to get caught out and turn this into a 1v1 where Nick can pretty easily win. I don't know, easily, but see, there we go again. You gotta have the Anakin attack.
Yeah, the Annie needs to be aggressing more than the Vader, because
Yeah.
the way it's going right now, that Vader keeps aggressing and just keeps giving up his life to that Ayla. He's got no answer to that. He needs to really wait for his teammate on the Anakin to attack first and get the Ayla to put himself out where he's gonna be able
Ooh.
to be hit.
Yeah. There we see again, just it's really rough for Dover to do a 1v1 against Nick. Because sure, you have that invulnerability, but then he just counterpunches. And that's why you want the Vader to be still alive at that point. Because even if he counterpunches, he's just going to die.
Yeah. And I mean, Nick just tied it up there.
Yeah. But hey, we're only 6 points in, and neither team is close to 10 yet, so someone could get a lot of points in a row.
Yeah.
Once Dover figures out that he needs to be the aggressor, if he figures that out at least, I think it's going to look a lot worse for Nick. Nick, I think, has recognized that he has to kill the Vader first, though. He's been almost exclusively attacking the Vader when he can.
Yeah. He definitely knows he has to either take out that Vader first or separate the Annie.
Yeah. Ooh, nice pickup by Klungo, and
Yeah, that was
finish.
really good.
Yeah. Now the villains are once again ahead. Honestly, though, I think they just have to go even on villains. Well, I don't know. They want to get as many points on here as possible, obviously. But if Azure doesn't show up, I think they have a clear advantage on heroes because they can just both play very safe characters.
They'll be able to just kite around him no matter what he plays.
Yeah. If Azure shows up at some point, then the math is a lot different, and every point they fail to get on here is bad for them when they should be dominating on this side anyway.
Yeah. Part of me thinks
Ooh,
they
that was
probably
not a good.
underestimate his ability.
Dover takes a very bad engagement there, and I don't know why he was trying to do an aerial like that, but
It just got him erased by that Ayla dash.
yeah. Well, ideally, what Dover? Okay, Nick's dead. Ideally, what Dover does is he uses ramps to get himself onto that center building with a dash and rolls off the edge so he can't be counterpunched instead of
Yeah.
doing an aerial from the hero spawn.
Though I can see where the aerial could have worked if he caught him off guard, but the
Yeah,
fact
but
remains he didn't.
yeah, and it's just the risk of doing that aerial compared to just doing a dash. Like if he had done it, still there's simpler ways to. He doesn't have to get the kill. The kill is Klungo's job. He just has to get Nick in a position to be killed. And again, nice
Like
pickup by
right there.
Klungo. Klungo's off on a vacation over there for some reason. He's coming back to his roof. I don't like how split up again they are. The villains need to stay together. It's, Nik
They're
can't
pretty
win
well
if...
together right now.
Well, when I said it, they were on opposite sides of the...
Yeah. It's
Uh,
really easy for that Vader to get separated from the Annie with his
yeah.
speed.
If they're significantly like together, there's nothing that can really do. Because even if he kills the Vader, if the Anakin's in a good position, he can still finish. Although it's a lot better if the Vader gets the finish. It's a lot safer. Ooh. See, there we go. That's exactly what Dover needs to do.
That's the perfect example.
Dover, I don't think that was intentional by him to get killed like that. I think he ran out of stamina or something and just got stuck out there. But the point of the matter is that by him being the bait, it didn't matter what Nik, Nik, if he took the bait, he dies.
Yeah. That coverage from the Vader there was
Yeah.
perfect as well.
And Nik has to be more
Everything
careful
just
about
kind of
taking.
worked out.
Nik has to be careful about taking those baits. He should have known that if he had gone for that, he would have just died from the Vader. The Vader was within range. And honestly, the thought process might be that if he doesn't take it, then he's going to lose anyway, but I think that's a pretty bad way to look at it, especially when you want to buy time for Azure.
Yeah.
Although, whether Azure comes or not is an open question.
It's up in the air.
Ooh, he didn't even have to do it with a dash. He just got a combo.
That was just a really good pickup from
Yeah,
Klungo there.
and the match is looking more and more grim for Nik here. It's 4-7 in favor of the villains. It's not been good, but he can still bring it back. He just has to play cautious enough to not get killed, but also aggressive enough to not get killed. It's a fine
He's
line he's
got to
treading.
really try to draw them into each
Yeah.
other here. He needs to be playing more into the map.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of holding a building just because every time that he's won so far, it's been because he was on a building and one of them came up first. It's these flat ground engagements I don't like.
Yeah.
Like, right?
He's definitely going to be outclassed in flat ground because they're both going to be able to be right there. On one
Yeah.
of these buildings, it's hard for both of them to be there.
It's also harder to dodge when you're on a building just because of the geometry of the ramps. Whereas on a flat ground,
Yeah.
you can just walk around them and he misses. Anyway, this is very good for Nik. He got the Vader like he has to, and now it's a 1v1, and I don't think that Dover has actually won a 1v1 yet.
Not against Nick today.
Yeah. I wasn't trying
Not
to say
right
that he's never won a
too
1v1 in
early.
his life. And the pattern continues. This is exactly what Nick needs to do. He just has to kill the Vader, and he has a very favorable matchup versus Dover.
Yeah, he's really got to give himself a little bit of breathing room because
Yeah.
right now he's being really aggressive. It's okay if he backs off a little bit as long as he's not hiding somewhere drawing out
Yeah.
the fight.
Yeah, he needs to wait for the proper opportunity. He can't just take every single fight. That was a strange move there by Nik.
Yeah, it was.
If Klungo was there,
If Klungo was in the position he needed to be in, then Nick would have
yeah.
been dead there for sure.
I don't like how Nik has been attacking Dover in those initial engagements. It's fine if you get in just an easy pickup from he just exposes himself, but he was going to have his way to attack Dover.
And
I don't
Klungo
know.
picked up the kill.
I don't know if that was an intentional combo or if he meant to block sprint and just did the wrong thing. I don't know why he would
It's
have comboed
possible.
there. But if he had dashed there, he probably could have actually killed Klungo there.
I don't think Klungo would have expected the dash from him.
Yeah, it would have been safe too if like Klungo had aerialed or anything. It still would have been safe because of the CD.
Yep, he had the angle for it.
Yeah. Now in the chat here, Klungo has been saying that he is scared of the Ayla, and that's wow. Good pickup by Dover. Good job, Dover.
Very good.
So is that that's 5-9? Okay, now it's match point for the villains. This is rough. Any victory by the villains now goes to the next phase, and that's not going to be good for Nick.
Yeah, Nick has not managed to buy much time for Azure to show up. We'll
Yeah,
have to see if he comes through and changes this duel around,
yeah.
but it's not looking good at the moment.
At least Azure won't be on Heroes to throw with Yoda. That's the
Yeah.
silver lining.
He'll have to play villains.
Yeah. There is a something I was gonna bring up before Dover just backslash Nick earlier. Klungo said in chat that he was legit scared of fighting the Ayla, which actually is kind of a bad thing for Nick, because if Klungo is more cautious, a good job by Nick, by the way. If Klungo is more cautious, that means that there's less opportunity for Nick to get the kill. And now we got the nice number.
It's gotta show up every duel, or it's
Yeah.
not official.
He's doing way better than anyone ought to be in this scenario, though. I'll give him that.
Yeah, and they're all three of them are really good players. Are arguably pretty even for the most part, but he's just doing really well. He's on
Yeah.
top of his game today. I like to think that if Azure was here, it would have been really one-sided with how this is going.
Ooh. And that's the first phase done. 6-10 in favor of Dover-Klungo. Now, traditionally we have a break while waiting for the teams to switch, so I'm guessing that's the same case here. Right, Adrian?
I actually can pull up the rule set. I'm actually not sure if there is a specific addressing of the intermission in the rules. I'm actually checking that.
Well, as he's doing that, what do you think is the best character pick for Nick here? 9.
The best play for Nick.
Yeah. I think it's
Best
Vader.
character.
Best character.
Vader's a decent choice, yes. Honestly, I think Maul would probably be a really good choice here too, just for that mobility. Especially going against two opponents, you have to be really good with Vader to make that work.
Yeah. But
I've not seen much of Nick's Vader, so I can't say if he would be able to do it or not, but I'm pretty
Vader's good, but
confident most people who are about this level at the game and pretty even with their opponents, if they pull a good Maul out, they can do some work against any heroes just with that mobility alone.
yeah, the benefit of having Maul, I think, is being able to get kills in without being able to be counterpunched, because there's no cooldown on the dash when you get out of it. Vader, you
And
have that
having
issue.
the additional stamina is very helpful as well.
Yep. So Dover crashed, so we're just waiting on Dover to come back, and then we will start phase 2. Azure still has not arrived with the cavalry. I don't know if he's coming. If Azure arrives, then it's going to look very different for their matchup, because Nick has an extremely good Vader. Not Vader, extremely good GG. Personally, I hate fighting Nick GG. It's just a nightmare to play. But it doesn't work in a GG one.
Yeah, GG can be really rough in 2v1. It's ironic really when you think about it, because his historically in Star Wars, General Grievous is really good against multiple opponents.
Yeah. You know, Battlefront 2 doesn't really care about the lore too much when it comes to who's the best fighter.
It really doesn't.
You know,
Look at Emperor, for example.
Emperor, Dooku, Windu, all three of these are awful picks. And, you know, Dooku is supposed to be like one of the best duelists in the era. Same thing with Windu and Emperor, obviously. And we're going GG. All right. So I half expected this, but I don't think it's a good idea.
We'll have to see. Maybe Nick knows something we don't.
So there's a thing that I don't think Dover and Klungo know, but it's actually extremely easy to pressure GG in a 2v1. So he has 2-3 dashes at most before he's out of stamina, and then he's an open target, right?
Yeah.
And you can just pressure him without any real ability for him to counterpunch because you have two people. And then he's out of stamina and he's just, you know... See, there we go. So he can finish, he can knock someone down, but then he's vulnerable. And if he doesn't even have any stamina, he can't get away from you, and it's just a nightmare.
Ultimately, he paid the price there against that Ayla.
And there, he takes your recommendation, he goes Maul.
And he picks them all.
That's a good idea. It's very, very rough as GG. He had no real chance of winning that match if the heroes played adequately, not even, like, you know, well. It's just the issue is you can't kill two people with GG at the same time, and it's too long to kill someone.
Unless they have a really big bumble and you can get both at the same time.
Yeah, but...
Which they almost did, but not quite.
Well, what happened last round was that Klungo got too far ahead of Dover, and then Dover came into the rescue at the end. Nice aerial by Klungo there, being able to knock down the Maul. You know, for a second there, I thought that the Ayla missed the aerial and was going to let the Maul back up, and the Maul was going to get away.
It was close.
Yeah. So, Dover Klungo are up 2-0. They only need 7 to win. They need 6 to tie. This is looking very rough. They're only 5 points away from winning this thing.
Yeah. Nick has a long way to go if he wants to tie it.
Yeah.
Or win.
Like I was saying before at the beginning of the first phase, the villain side in a 2v1 is really rough. Just because you don't have the safety that Ayla gives you.
His tactics here, I think, need to change a little bit. I really think he should focus that Luke first, or try to draw the Ayla into killing the Luke with the bait.
Yeah, the Klungo is the scarier of the two opponents, I would think, just because his ramps give him insane mobility that make it hard to actually counterpunch other people. But, and I say that, then Dover does the ramp and murders them all.
Just erased them all.
Yeah. And then Klungo thinks he's a villain for a second. Now he's back in the right spot.
That's a mistake I've made myself before.
Yeah, we've all done it. So, I don't know what Nick can really do here to win this. He's reliant on his opponents being bad than himself playing excellently, for the most part at least. More so than last phase. The last phase was also
definitely going to take
him.
him playing absolutely perfectly and choosing the right tactics.
And them allowing him to still win. Because if they play well, he's probably going to lose, even if he plays perfectly. All choices will lead to death at some point.
From that Ayla.
Yeah, there was at one point there was a portion where Dover was stuck in the canteen without much stamina. Ooh. Okay. I was worried that Nick wouldn't have noticed.
That's the Luke dead.
Now it's time for the Ayla, and
It's not an easy fight, but it's
and
definitely possible on the mall.
yeah, I think the Luke is an easier fight for them all, but
It
I
definitely is.
I don't think that he can kill the Luke with Dover watching. Dover's coverage has been good this side so far.
Both their coverage of each other have
Yeah.
been really good.
Yeah, Klungo's coverage is immaculate, and Dover's coverage is good enough that. Oh, we're back to the GG. I don't blame him for switching it up again, but I don't see any way of GG working.
It's interesting to see Klungo go from on his Vader like a reasonable amount of coverage for Dover and the
Mm.
Annie to now on the Luke like just excellent coverage for that Ayla.
I think just part of it is that he's slower, so he's keeping up with the Ayla and not getting too far ahead. And he still is getting too far ahead at some points. The first round when he actually managed to knock Klungo, that was the case of him getting too far ahead. And the same thing here, he got too far ahead, and it doesn't matter. But
Yeah, Nick got saved right there by CD on this GG.
well, we're now match point for the heroes getting to the tie, and it's looking very grim. Right now, Nick has to win 10
10
matches in a
matches in a
row,
row.
which that's not going to happen.
That's pretty rough. He'd have to play absolutely perfectly.
Now
And
I don't.
he'd honestly probably have to pick the Vader to do that.
Yeah, I don't quite know the rules for tiebreakers in SAD, but if he loses one more, he'd win like 12 or 13 matches in a row.
And Dover came through after a ramp with just a perfect
Here's the tie.
example of an Ayla dash.
So as it turns out, the cavalry is not coming, and Azure has betrayed his teammate.
It would appear that Azure will not make it. Unless Nick somehow manages to pull something off here, but we'll have to see.
Well, he's gone Maul instead of Vader, and that means that he's going to be stuck on Maul if he does the 10-0 or 11-0 as it is now. Because if he dies, that's the only time he actually switches character, and by that point he's lost.
Yeah.
So he's sticking with Maul for the rest of the game if he's going to win. Honestly, I would have liked Vader and just okay, and that's game.
That
Probably
is
still
game
going to play
point.
out the rest of the match, but there's no mathematical possibility for Nick to win now. That's what I was saying at the beginning of this. I knew that the heroes would be a lot easier for Nick.
Just because he had that Ayla to give him a lot of coverage and a lot of
Yeah,
power to take out people. Because
and
even
not even
though
that,
with
just the
Maul or Vader, he's still gonna have to make 2 passes on anyone.
yeah. Not even. I mean, that's a big part of it, but just the fact that he doesn't have to play into an Ayla.
Yeah. And obviously after that first round against him on his Ayla, Dover and Klunger weren't gonna take any chances.
I'm gonna laugh if he gets his first kill after he's already lost. Oh, I feel so bad for Nick. He didn't ask for this. He didn't even get the. He didn't even get the win. Ah, this is rough. He's still second of Maul. I feel like he should have tried Vader at some point.
He might just not be comfortable with his Vader 2v1.
Yeah, I am not. To be fair, but at this point, like trying anything that like what he's doing is not working.
No. Maul would have probably been my first pick if I was in the situation, and then after it stopped working, or if it never worked, I probably would have switched to Vader, like you said initially.
Vader, you can't take flat ground fights at all, but Klungo and Dover were showing that they were willing to get separated on buildings, and that's where you would have to get the kills.
Yep.
And that's a 10-0 on the Finland side for Nick.
He did
Well,
really commendable on heroes,
yeah,
but
he did
when he
well.
got to villains, he couldn't take on that Ayla and that Luke. It was just too
Yeah.
much for him. Sadly, Azure didn't make it in time.
Well, I don't think many people expected Dover and Klungo to get third place, but here we are, or at least third place. They can still play to get anywhere as far as first place if they beat Ajax and Buck and then myself and William twice. But they now have guaranteed third place and some prize money.
It's nice to see some good sportsmanship there at the end.
Guessing we're not having interviews because Nick has to go and Dover and Klungo. I don't think they've done interviews before.
Uh, I'm not 100% sure. I think they might have Dover
Dover
might have
has,
done
yeah.
one.
All right. One of you two will have to bring him into the chat. I can't do it.
I can bring him in.
All right. I'm always bad at this. I never had good questions.
As soon as I see him, join a channel.
I hope you have some questions, Ryan, because I'm coming up blank.
Not a ton, but I've got a few.
Oh, is it? Azur's getting yelled at by Nick now. He's gonna have a massive rant in his DMs.
He's gonna wake up tomorrow morning and be like, oh. They're all left the server, Adrian.
Yeah, you're gonna
I'll
have to
to
DM
PM
Dover.
him.
Yep, that's what I was just doing.
Well, I thought he had a chance after the first phase, and then the villain side happened. Oh, he was so
Yeah.
bad.
He really needed to get a little bit further ahead on heroes and just have a lot of hope that Azure would show up. And then try to make something happen with them all or evade air
I am
when he was
having
on villains.
technical difficulties, question mark. I'm not able to pull him in.
Is he in a channel already? I'll pull him in.
Yeah, he's in general. My thing's not scrolling up to like let me move him. Like I can't. It won't. Oh, there we go.
hello,
we go.
Dover.
Hello.
Nice match.
Oh,
Wasn't
thank
that
you.
was very one-sided, but
Yeah, it was not what I was expecting, but
hey,
at least they would have something better than 20-0.
yeah, you got some guaranteed prize money now, right? If, you got guaranteed
Oh.
third place, which means
I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's good.
I think it's $34.
Whoa, that's like a new game. Crazy.
Depends on what kind you want.
Oh yeah, I'm really sorry for them. I'm sorry that Azure didn't
Yeah.
show up.
Hey, it's not your fault. It's, Azure was doing something.
Yeah, I mean it would have definitely at least be a very contested match.
Yeah.
I was
Well, your last
very
match.
hyped for it.
What was
Yeah.
going
I think-
through your head before this started? Like, you guys, the last
Oh,
match
I
you
was
guys had wasn't
really-
that close, and
I mean, yeah, they beat us, and I knew I had to be really careful against them, because they're two of the best counterpunchers that I know. You can't really mess around with them. You can't
Yeah.
I can't do my usual, being recklessly aggressive. My big strategy was pretty much just I really need to rely on ramping. I need to be able to get where they are really quickly, and that's kind of I feel like the main strength I had to pursue against them.
Yeah. So in the beginning of the first phase, you guys were actually going even, or even like Nick was winning a bit. Did you guys
Oh
make any
yeah.
did you guys make any adjustments, or did just naturally you pulled back
Just
ahead?
well, in the beginning, I knew like Maul was no go against an Ayla as good as Nick, so I immediately changed to a CD character like Annie, and yeah, just even if it's a 2v1 and it sounds like it should be that good, Ayla's just so good that they can. She's like the perfect character to go on a 2v1. They can just
Yeah.
plow through both of us at once, which she did several times. So just
Yes.
like even if it's 2v1, we have to drag it out. We have to make sure that she doesn't get both of us together or anything like that.
I was saying in the commentary that you basically had to be the bait for Klungo to get the counterpunch because it would be very rough for you to actually.
Yeah, that was the other thing. I really pretty much just had to support Klungo in that
Yeah.
round because Vader's the main character that can actually counterpunch Ayla without taking too much risk.
Yeah. Nine, you have any
Well,
questions?
a pretty good, a pretty evenly matched Ayla and Annie can usually brawl it out a little bit and can go either way
Oh yeah.
depending on the situation and the ramps and stuff. But yeah, definitely in that situation, the Vader would be the main character.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of times it feels like that, but Nick is a really good player. He definitely held his ground as Ayla. I mean, he had us like, oh, this guy, if we let him, he could win. He's
Yeah, it definitely looked like he
yeah.
took you guys aback for a minute in that
Yeah.
first that on when you guys were on heroes or villains rather.
I am
Yeah, we
getting like
kind of
6 points.
yeah. Yeah,
And
he did. He did good.
then
Uh,
heroes happened, and
Yeah, I was
that
eager
was
like, oh,
rough.
wait till I go to Ayla. Ayla is
yeah,
just she's so strong, especially against like lots of players.
yeah, it's hard to
Well,
play into her when you're just have one person.
Yeah.
this was a piece of debate that we had right at the beginning when you guys switched to heroes. If you were in Nick's shoes in this situation, what unit would you pick, and what would be your plan of attack trying to win against the
So
two of you?
yeah, so obviously heroes would be Ayla, but villains, that's I would probably go Vader and really just try and separate them, take them as high as I can, get them chasing
Yeah.
up on top of rooftops because that's where I feel Vader, has a bit of an advantage over
Mhm.
normal characters.
That's pretty much what I was saying too. It's like Nick could never win on flat ground because of the just counterpunch. Like
Yeah,
GG
Gigi, I
Maul
mean,
doesn't
yeah, could
beat it.
definitely do a lot of damage against us, but it's kind of just a matter of time with two of us constantly,
Hmm.
taking swipes at him.
Yeah, you need to
Eventually,
do
one of them will hit.
the buck approach, where you just play Vader and run away forever until you get that pick.
Yeah, that would have. If he was Vader, I feel it probably would have been more difficult for us,
Yeah.
especially as Ayla, because he would counterpunch her my Ayla
I
a
don't think
lot
he was
A
easier.
confident
lot
with his Vader
easier.
enough that he was willing to do it. I don't know. Shame that we didn't get him in for an interview, but
Yeah, it helps to be really accurate with Vader, which I'm pretty sure he is.
yeah, he definitely has a good Vader.
Yeah.
Um,
Both teams played very well there.
Yeah, Nick
I
definitely
definitely,
stood his ground, especially in the beginning. He wasn't
yeah,
gonna let us just take it easily.
yeah, 6 points right there in the beginning when Nick was on, when was Ayla. That was pretty commendable, I think, especially all of you being pretty decent players. I say
Yeah.
decent, but pretty good players.
Now, Wolf generally wants to keep these interviews a bit shorter, so I think we should just do like one more question or two. So now that you're going into the losers final,
Uh-huh.
are you gonna do anything particular to prep against Ajax and Buck?
Um, I think the best I could do is just be a lot more accurate. I feel that's kind of where I could improve on the most. Um, yeah, that's probably the main thing.
I noticed that
What
Klungo.
about as a team?
As a team, yeah, that's kind of I feel like the big advantage that they have over a lot of teams is they have a very good synergy. That was actually what Klungo and I were already discussing, is how we're going to take on Ajax and Outwash. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to at least rival their synergy as a team. We're going to have to be very close together, because I think a lot of it's going to come to trade-offs, like you call it. We're all going to be swarming each other at once, and it's going to be a lot of situations like that. So maybe practicing scrims would be a good approach, something like that.
Yeah, I know it's not for
Probably.
everyone, but a lot of people like using voice chat, and I know you guys don't do that in these matches. Are you guys gonna like experiment with that, or?
I can talk to him about getting a headset. I don't know
Oh.
if I don't really work too much on voice chat. I
Yeah.
kind of just get I actually haven't got as angry as I used to in previous years, but I do have a history of getting frustrated on voice chat. But yeah, I can talk to him about it. I'll see.
Yeah, if anything, you're gonna get every advantage you can get with these two.
Yeah, that might help.
All right.
And
Well,
then after that, if you win there,
you're gonna have to fight me and Will potentially twice, because is the bracket reset.
The bracket reset. Okay.
If you guys beat Ajax and Buck, you're gonna have to beat Will and I twice to get first
Yeah,
place.
we're gonna have to fight the Dark Overlord himself. Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's enough.
probably
Uh,
wrap up the interview there. Thank you, Dover, for
Thank-
agreeing to do
Thank you.
this.
You've been
Thank you for
great
everything you
host.
had to say.
Yeah.
All right.
All
And
right.
that was definitely a good fight. I look forward to watching the next one.
Unfortunate circumstances, certainly, but
Yeah.
a good match nonetheless.
Just hope that Buck doesn't show up for the next match, and you got that one in the bag too.
Wouldn't that be a way
No,
to end the
that was-
tournament?
That would
Let's
suck.
Yeah,
not.
they
But,
should show up.
Let's not.
Yeah, it's better if they show up so we get
Yeah.
the full experience. All right.
Well,
Thank you.
and yeah, back to the stream itself. This was a match.
Sadly, Azure didn't make it, and it turned
Yeah.
into a 1v2. Wasn't quite as close as everyone was probably hoping.
Yep. But an unexpected outcome, I think, for a lot of people. I think everyone was expecting Azure-Nik to dominate like last time, but that's the way it goes when someone doesn't show up. Thanks everyone for watching, and hopefully the next match is the best one yet.
Gotta end strong.
Hope everyone's excited for these next two matches.
Yeah.
They're gonna be good ones.
Take care, everyone.